I teach a strategy in one of my workshops that I've used for years to grow my business and to ensure that I have a product suite that actually leaves profit in my pocket after all our expenses. Now, this strategy ultimately helps women get a clear understanding of how to profit from what they offer and how they can pay themselves more. So during the workshop, we go through that process. But in each session, before we get into the quote-unquote hard skills and the numbers, we first talk about our beliefs around money. Because as women business owners, there are many misconceptions and beliefs that are simply untrue, and they actually do us more harm than good. And honestly, while the numbers and strategies are critical for you to know, it's usually this part of the workshop that the women love most. And after every session of running this workshop, I hear from women who say that confronting their own limiting beliefs around money completely changed how they want to show up in their business. So today, I want to bring that conversation to you. We're going to talk about the 7 things that you need to stop telling yourself if you want to shift your mindset around money and start earning more. Because the truth is, we've inherited a lot of unhelpful beliefs around success, money, and worthiness. And it's time to let them go. Hello. My name is Susie. I'm the CEO at Her Business, and I'm also your host here on the Her Business podcast. Welcome. Today we are talking about 7 things to stop telling yourself if you want to change your mindset around money. And now, these are not things that I pulled out of a hat. These are phrases and beliefs that I've heard woman after woman after woman say for years now. I surrounded myself with women business owners for close to 3 decades, and I can say that these beliefs undercut all of us. I have thought them. Other women have thought them, and I bet as you listen, there's going to be at least one thing to which you say, oh yeah, I definitely thought that too. Now, before we get into these 7 money mindset shifts, I want to say something, and that is that I don't consider myself a total woo-woo kind of person. And I'll explain what that means, because I am a little bit woo, but what I'm not here to tell you is that you can just visualize success and money will manifest itself into your life. It'll just appear. If you can do that, then I am all for it. Good for you. But what we're talking about today is about more than just belief and hope. There's actually a lot of research out there that backs up this idea that your mindset directly impacts your success. There is data that proves this. Now, a study published by the Journal of Economic Psychology found that individuals with a negative perception of wealth and success tend to undercharge for their services and avoid financial risks, and they are more likely to be kept in a cycle of financial struggle. Another study, this one from Harvard, found that entrepreneurs who actively worked on shifting their mindset, particularly around the fear of failure, were significantly more likely to hit higher revenue milestones than those who did not. Now, why is that? Because those people took more strategic risks. They embraced opportunities that came their way, and they decided to view setbacks as a way to learn rather than a sign to stop. So what I'm trying to say is that this is proven. I'm not just about your energy or believing in something enough. Your mindset can actually change how much profit you're bringing into your business. The way you think about money will absolutely influence the way you act around money. And those actions will determine your revenue and your profit. So let's get into 7 things you need to stop telling yourself in order to make that mindset shift. Number 1 is other people could make that kind of money, but not me. Now, I think this is something that anybody, especially those of us who came from working class or middle class families, has thought. Major success is something that happens to other people. It's what happens in the movies. It's what happens to the few that get lucky. But me, that could never happen to me. Now, if you've ever thought that, I want you to take a second to question that thinking. Why not you? Why is it that something can be right for other people can have it, but you can't? I think this is something called upper limit thinking, and it's a term that was coined by Gay Hendricks in his book, The Big Leap. In the book, he talks about how we subconsciously limit our success because we believe we don't deserve more. Now, I absolutely grew up thinking this way, and it's been a long road to slowly unlearn that thinking. And you have to be willing to challenge your own assumptions about what is possible. Because here's what I know. There's nothing inherently different between the women who hit their milestones when it comes to money and those who don't, except their belief in what is possible. Now, if you've ever envisioned yourself making a significant amount of money, great. If you have never envisioned yourself making a significant amount of money, then that's the first belief we want to shift. So imagine saying, what if it was for me, not just for other people? Imagine what it would feel like to hit your income goals. How would your life change? How could you help other people in your life? How would your business evolve? What could you create with that financial freedom? So this isn't about dreaming for the sake of dreaming. It's about making your brain accept new possibilities and being able to say, yeah, that is actually a reality that I'm willing to live into. This is something that I can allow myself to have. And I can tell you I've done this exact thing. Now, my partner PJ and I, years ago, decided to have a little getaway weekend at a little blue cottage by the sea, about 2 hours drive from our home. At the time, business had been going well, but we were super busy and we needed a break to think and to reassess things. And we thought it would be nice to step away for a few days and think about where we wanted things to go next. And one of those days, it was a long weekend, and it was winter. I remember how cold it was. We were walking on the beach, and after talking for a long time about what might even be possible for us, I picked up a piece of driftwood. And with the driftwood in hand, I wrote out the number 1 million in the sand. 1,000,000. I wrote it out. Now, that was a dream number that the younger me would never have even dared to think of. It's something I wouldn't even have dared to imagine, but I wrote it out because there is something powerful, something that shifts in your brain when you say, maybe I can do this. Maybe my life could look like this. And immediately it felt more real. The $1 million in the sand became a symbol both for me and PJ, but also it was kind of a sign of what was to come. And as we stood back and we looked at the number, we both gulped a little, to be honest. It was such a big number and we were a long way from there at that time. And who we were was very different to the people we would become. We thought to ourselves, who were we anyway to think about having that type of business? And the imposter syndrome came flooding in. While we didn't know how to get there, we did know a few things. We were certain that we were willing to do the work. We were willing to find mentors and peers who could help guide the way. We were going to make mistakes. That was a given. And we were going to give it a go either way. So we took the position of being a multi-million-dollar business. Well, $1 million business to start with. We decided that we were going to become a $1 million business, and then we went about working back from that vision. We had to figure out so many things. Who did we need to be as individuals? What did we need to communicate? What did our marketing need to say and look like? What systems did we need to put in place to make this business work? Who did we need on our team? Guess what? Less than 2 years from that day at the beach, we hit the $1 million mark. Now, how did we do that? Well, the first thing we had to do was change our thinking, first and foremost. We had to step into a way of thinking and being that is someone who has $1 million business. What would they think? How would they handle a situation or make a decision? Every day, I had to ask how that version of Susie would show up. I asked what that version of Susie would do on a day-to-day basis. And because I imagined her each and every day, I was able to become her. Now, that's number one. Let's move to the next thought that I bet has come up as you are envisioning that future for yourself. If I make more, if I become more successful, what will other people think? Will they think I'm greedy? Will they think that I'm prioritizing my business over my family, my partner, my kids, my friends? Will they think I'm a bad person? Will they think I'm delusional? Will they think that I think that I'm above them? Will they think that I'm selfish? The obsessive thoughts could go on because these kinds of thoughts are deeply ingrained in us. As women in particular, we're conditioned to be nice, to be accommodating, to put others first. We've taught that asking for money, charging for what we're worth, makes us feel selfish or greedy. So what usually happens? We undercharge, we overdeliver, we hesitate to send the invoice without offering a discount. We justify our low prices by telling ourselves, I just want to help more people. That's one, when we over-deliver as well, that's true. I just want to help people. And while that generosity is likely authentic, I believe that, it should never come at the expense of your own financial security or your financial freedom. And here's what I want you to hear loud and clear. Being well paid for your expertise does not make you greedy. And money is not the enemy. It is a tool that allows you to create impact. It supports your family. It employs people. It gives back to the community or the causes that you care about in meaningful ways. The more you make, the easier it is to have a ripple effect with the people that you're trying to help. Now, every time you undercharge, you're making it harder for your business to be sustainable. You're working just as hard but seeing less return. And more than anything, you're depriving yourself of the freedom and the security that financial success can bring. Now, pricing appropriately isn't really about making more from one client or one project. I want you to think of this more globally. It's about building a business that's going to last the test of time, that is going to be sustainable, that will sustain you and sustain itself. And so we need to be pricing in order to have a business that sustains itself. So if you've been afraid of charging more because people will think less of you, then ask yourself an easy question. Would I think that about someone else? I bet you wouldn't. I bet you would be that woman's best supporter, a cheerleader, really rooting for them to grow and get what they deserve. I remember one of our members saying to me, she was hesitant to advertise on Facebook because she thought she would look braggy. No, what she looked was successful, which she was. Sometimes we can have such messed up points of view in our head. Now, if you don't judge someone else for valuing their time, their expertise, for putting themselves forward, for making their offers, why are you judging yourself? That is number 2. Okay, so number 2, once again, is if I make more, what will others think? Let's take a look at number 3, and that is the thought that in order to make more money, I have to work harder. This is what we're taught to believe, right? Working hard is like this badge of honor, that the hours we work can be equated to a dollar amount. And when we're teenagers, right, we often start working at a minimum wage. And then we get our first adult job, maybe we're earning a little bit more per hour. Then maybe we move into a salaried position, which still, we think about as dollars per hour or dollars per month. We have this cap on who we are. But as business owners, we don't have that cap. We can change the game. We don't have to work a 40-hour week. We don't have to clock in or clock out. We can be free of the time for money trap if we set up our businesses right. Because when we think that more money means more work, it's going to come at the cost of something. The cost of our time, the cost of our personal life, the cost of our freedom. And maybe you've thought, I want to grow my business, I want to scale, but I don't want to work twice as hard. And there is no evidence that it has to be that way, but it is a thought that we have. Or if I want to make more money annually, I'll have to sacrifice time with my family, and I don't want to do that. Or if I want to reach X amount of revenue this year, then my hobbies, my weekends, my free time is all going to be chucked out the window. Now, these are beliefs that keep so many women from reaching their full financial potential, but they're not truths. They are just beliefs. I can tell you the most successful entrepreneurs that I know, they are not working day in and day out. They are working less and earning more. Making more money does not mean sacrificing your life. It doesn't mean that you have to be constantly exhausted or chained to your laptop or missing out on what actually matters in life. It means getting strategic. It means structuring your business so that growth doesn't cost you your freedom, but instead gives you more freedom. I want you to think about some of the most successful women you know. Maybe someone who has built something great, something you admire. Is she running herself to the ground? Is she a horrible mother, partner, friend? No, you probably wouldn't admire her if she was. But she's probably created a business that supports her life, one that she loves, but not a business that is her life. So the goal here isn't just to make more money. It's to make more money in a way that aligns with your values and the type of life that you want to live. And it starts with letting go of the belief that more success means more stress, more sacrifices. That is number 3. The fourth belief that I want us to question is this one. if I make more money, I'll lose control over my business. Now, what does this mean? So many women hesitate to grow their businesses because they believe that growth means losing control. They worry that making more money means having to hire a bigger team and manage more people and deal with more complexity and risk losing the personal touch that makes their business successful. And having so many other things to think about could mean that they put themselves at risk. But the reality is the right kind of growth is going to give you more control, not less. Having more revenue allows you to put systems in place that takes the burden off your shoulders. It allows you to hire the right people who have more expertise in their areas, and you can create a business that runs smoothly without having you micromanage every detail. And the belief that only I can do this right is what keeps us stuck in a cycle of overwork. And it's a typical self-employed kind of mentality. Business owners, women who grow businesses, they do not think that. Because when we think only I can do this right, it keeps us stuck. And the thing is, it's not true. If you set up your processes right and you take the time needed to onboard correctly, you're not losing control. You are upgrading the quality of work and the quality of output. So instead of seeing scaling as loss of control, see it as an opportunity to design your business in a way that supports you and your team and your clients even better than you could before. Belief number 5 is one that I think many people hate to admit, but we fall into a trap of thinking, if I succeed, people won't like me. Now, this comes from the idea of being more visible with our work. It comes with gaining a higher profile, stepping into the CEO role in your business and being seen. Now, it's a deeply ingrained fear, particularly in women. We worry that our success is going to have us seem arrogant or unapproachable, that our friends, our family, our peers might actually even resent us for achieving financial freedom. But here's the hard truth. Your success will reveal who genuinely supports you. The people who feel threatened by your growth, they were never really rooting for you in the first place. Plus, often we've just made this thing up and the people around us will actually be happy for us. If you're like a lot of women I know, then you may have had people calling your business your little hobby. But the people who celebrate your wins with you, they're the ones who deserve to be in your corner, the ones that will continue lifting you up and challenging you. I know within our community, when someone's business is growing, thriving, they're getting publicity, they're landing new clients or bigger contracts or raising their prices, everybody rallies to celebrate them. No one thinks badly. It's inspiring. So if you've been holding yourself back because you're afraid of making others uncomfortable, remember that your success does not take away from anyone else's success. There is more than enough to go around, an abundance of opportunity. And when you win, you create opportunities to help others around you as well. Now, I found that this thought process is very common in women business owners who are isolated from communities of other business owners. And it's something I've seen time and again. Now, once a woman joins a community like the Her Business community, she realizes that being surrounded by people who've been where she's at and have risen to new heights, it's actually inspiring. So surrounding yourself with success and other women who are going in the direction you're going is something that you can really set your sights on. If you want to feel less alone in this process of wanting a thriving business, wanting to be successful, and finding the right community for you and being around other business owners is really going to help you grow. It's going to give you inspiration. And that community becomes a sounding board for all your new ideas, your growth strategies, and it becomes a well of advice that never dries up. So that was number 5, which is, will I lose control? Was number 4, sorry. Number 5 was, if I succeed, people won't like me. So number 6, this one is one that I'm constantly trying to negate wherever I hear it. And that means success means giving up what I love. This is so not true. We think that financial success is a recipe for burnout, that making more money will come at the expense of our passions, our freedoms, why we started our business in the first place, that our work-life balance will be out of whack. But it doesn't need to be the case. And in fact, it shouldn't be the case. Your business being successful, you achieving financial success, should ultimately enhance your quality of life, not diminish it. So if the more successful you become, the less happy you are in your business, then something needs to change. Now, more revenue should mean that you have more resources to hire a team, to streamline your systems, to put in place new technology, to buy back some of your time. And so that you can invest your time in other things that bring you joy. So that your business isn't your business and your business is your hobby and your business is everything, but that you have time to do some of the other things that perhaps you couldn't do when you were first starting out and slogging away. If your business is making money but leaving you drained, it's a sure sight that you need to reevaluate how you're running things. And you might need to make some serious adjustments because your business should fuel you. It should bring you joy. You should look forward to getting up in the morning to work on your business, and you should be left with plenty of time to enjoy the things that you want to enjoy. Now, I can say my business has not always been this way, for sure. I wouldn't even pretend that it was. But when I got really clear on I am working really hard and I'm loving my bank account, but I'm not loving my business, something had to change. When I was loving my business, but my bank account was failing, something had to change. And it all started with changing how I thought about things. Now, the women inside of her business are just shining examples of women who figured out how to do what they love every day. That is our tagline, while bringing in a great income. All right, so I've saved number 7, the best, for last. Or maybe it's the worst, I don't know. Because it's an internalized thought that forms anytime you've been in business for a few years. And that is that we start to equate our self-worth with our net worth. We get tied to our business. And it's part of what naturally happens when you go out and you start your own thing. Our businesses are like our babies. It's easy to tie your identity to your business's financial success. And the longer you've been in business, the longer this is the case. And so what happens is when the revenue is up, you feel great. When things slow down, it's like a personal failure. But your value, your intrinsic value as a human being, as a woman, as a friend, as a mother, as a partner, is not determined by how much money your business makes. How many new clients you get, how many members you have, how much you do in your e-commerce sales. None of that. One of the biggest mindset shifts that you can make is separating your self-worth from your income. You are not your business. Even if you're the only person employed in your business, you are not your business. Your skills, expertise, your impact, they go so far beyond what's in your bank account. Money is a tool. I'll say that again. It's not a reflection of your value as a person. So the goal isn't just to make more. It's about building a life and a business that is feeding you. Whether that for you is making $100,000 a year, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. Your passion, your drive, your grit, those things come with you. Those are the things that are nurtured and cultivated by you. And they should not be impacted by your revenue. Now, I know I can say that, and I know that my mood has many times been influenced by the success or otherwise of a campaign. But I have to keep checking myself and saying, you know what? That failure, that doesn't mean anything about me. It's just a problem to be solved. It's just a lesson to be learned and move on. Maybe that's why I've been in business so many years. Now, as we close out this episode, I want to leave you with one thing, and I am going to give you a summary of the 7 points. I'll tell you where that is in just a moment. These thoughts will come up for you, and they won't just come up once. This is just our psyche trying to keep us from rising. But when they do come up, what I'm hoping from today is that you now notice them, and you can say, oh, there's that thought. It's not true, it's just a thought. And you can choose to ignore them. You can choose to reframe them, rewrite those scripts that are in your head. Because these limiting beliefs aren't just a personal thing. Women have been conditioned for generations to believe that financial success is harder for us. We've been dependent on others. And I know it's probably only 1-2 generations behind us. Some of you are in that generation where that was the thing. It's like, well, we didn't even have our own money. We don't have to accept these thoughts, any thoughts, as truths. So every time one of these limiting beliefs creeps in, I want you to challenge it, to ask yourself, is it really grounded in truth? Is it a story you were told to believe? Because the truth is, you are absolutely capable of making more money, keeping more money, enjoying the process of making money. You do not have to struggle, you do not have to overwork yourself, and you don't have to justify your success to anyone. We all deserve to claim our financial independence with confidence. And it starts by pushing back against the beliefs that hold us back. These are our beliefs. No one is doing this to us. This is stuff we're allowing to live in our head. So at the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that we get into this at a workshop that I host. Now, I'd love for you to join me in that workshop coming up. Now, if you want the hard skills that go along with the mindset, know that this workshop is where the strategy around that comes in. You're going to get the exact formula I've used to grow 5 multi-million-dollar businesses, and it's a strategy that's worked for thousands of small business owners that I've worked with. And during that workshop, we'll get into the nuts and bolts of how do you make profit in your business. We're going to audit your product and service suite. We'll determine what you need to change for each of your offers. We'll look at your pricing, and together we'll build you a plan to reach your money goals for this year. And if you want to get a free ticket, I have a link in the show notes of this episode. Or you can head on over right now to profitablebusinessworkshop.com. It's profitablebusinessworkshop.com. Now, I've mentioned a bunch of things here, some books, some other resources. Over at herbusiness.com/299, you'll find a summary of the 7 points we covered here today, and you'll find links to the other resources that I've mentioned. That's where you'll also find a link to join me at the Profitable Business Workshop for Women Business Owners. Or as I said, you can scoot along there now at profitablebusinessworkshop.com. Now, one of our recent attendees called the workshop mind-blowing, which, to toot my own horn, is a very accurate description of what we do in the session. You'll learn the steps it takes to actually reach the revenue and profit goals that you have for this year. And it's actually a lot simpler than you'd think. I like simple, I like straightforward. And again, I'll put the details, for more details for that in the show notes for this episode. And of course, I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode. So what limiting beliefs do you have about your business and about yourself? Where did those beliefs come from? How do you plan to combat them? We can continue the conversation over on Instagram. We are at Her Business on Instagram. I'd love to see you over there. You can direct message me there. You can contribute to one of the conversations that I'm having there about this very topic, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. Now, I want to read a review from a very recent episode 289, which was an interview with one of our members, and she said, actually, no, it wasn't about an interview. It was a review from one of our members. Okay, this review is from Erica McInerney, who was a guest on the show, but this is actually a review she wrote about the show. She said, so helpful. Love these bite-sized episodes packed with ideas that I can use straight away and also pass on to my clients. So valuable. So Erica is a marketer, and so we actually have a great episode with her. I'll put a link to that. But Erica, thank you for listening. And I love, we try and make them bite-sized and really applicable for women business owners. So if you enjoyed this episode, I'm going to ask you a favor. Would you leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? And would you subscribe to the show? So just click follow or subscribe wherever you are listening. Join me next time right here on the Her Business podcast. Thank you so much. Bye for now.